storyteller, our fourth storyteller today, when asked what food represents her and why, she said, avocado. She said it was tough to come up with, but avocado, because an avocado has a big seed in the center, and this storyteller has a really big heart. Please bring all the joyful noise for our next storyteller, Jennifer.
Yes, hi, Jennifer.
Woo!
Thank you. I was loving being a new mother. My baby was very much wanted, and everything was going so well. Then at about 6 weeks, my baby started sleeping through the night, but my breasts didn't. So that caused a pattern of me getting up, expressing my milk and checking on him, and the sleep disruption. And then one night, suddenly, out of nowhere, I was writing thank yous, and I had this sudden fear that someone was trying to harm me and take away my baby. I had no evidence of it. It was just so real. And I was so frightened, I didn't even share it with my wonderful husband. And this led to a couple nights without sleep. And so at 8 weeks, I'd gone on the third night without sleep. I was inwardly so frightened, and I just would not let anyone hold my baby, even my wonderful husband. And the front door opened. My husband knew there was something wrong. And so the front door was opening, and then these strangers were coming in. So my fear was becoming a reality. I didn't understand what was happening. I just knew that I needed to protect him. So I made my way to the front door, and as I was at the front door, they pried my baby from my arms and took me to the ground. And thankfully my son was caught and he was fine. But I was so scared and I didn't know what was happening. They put me in an ambulance, and I wound up going to, it was a hospital, and I got to see the doctor the next day. Well, at least I was told that she was the doctor. And she said, some women experience postpartum depression and after they have a baby. So, it's nothing. We're just going to do a few tests, and then, we'll let you go home. So I was so motivated to get home. I just did whatever needed to. I was in the hospital for 4 nights. And then at about just another week or so later, we went to my niece's piano recital, and we were in the church after, and I had such fear come upon me again that someone was going to harm my son. And I didn't understand it again, but it was a different experience this time. They allowed me to just go back to my house, and which is about an hour away. My family drove me back. And then I found myself outside again and screaming for help. And then I was taken to the hospital, back to the hospital that I was. And my family didn't understand what's going on. I didn't understand what's going on, but thankfully they arranged and we were able to find another doctor that they were going to allow me to leave the hospital to go have an evaluation with. And so I still remember getting in the car with my family, my husband, one of my sisters, my father, and we drove to the doctor's office. I had some apprehension, but I had a positive feeling too. And he was sitting behind the desk, and I was sitting there, and he was starting to ask the question, are you feeling confused? And I was like, yes. Are you fearful? And I said, yes. Are you having any thoughts or anything unusual? And I said, yes. And he said, have you heard or saw anything? And I was so afraid to tell him the truth that at the church I did have a vision of someone harming my child. I said no. I was just too afraid to tell him that. But I still had a comfort and an ease when he said, you have what is called postpartum psychosis. It is an illness, and we can treat it, and you will get better. So it brought me such relief. Even though I had much of a journey ahead, it brought me such relief to know that this was an illness, that it was treatable, and that I would get better. Thank you.
Yes.
Round of applause.